Hey Podsters, welcome to Podcast VAs Philippines, where we aim to connect with podcasters and podcast VAs, as well as help aspirants learn more about podcasting and podcast management. In this video, kasama natin si Mommy Sarah Jane, who is a full-time mom of three, a full-time freelancer, and a full-time entrepreneur. She is also the producer behind the biggest community for women entrepreneurs called Boss Babe, as well as the podcast manager of the YouTube sensation Steve Stein Guitar. Mommy Sarah, together with her husband Edward, co-founded AVCreativity Studio, isang podcast production agency. Alamin natin kung paano sila nagsimula sa kanilang podcast production journey, as well as learn tips on how they do effective podcast production. Okay, good afternoon everyone sa Podcast VAs Philippines. Salamat na nandito kayo kasama namin ngayon. And while waiting for others, let's give it some time para sa iba na sasali pa sa live. But anyone can watch the replay. It will be available after the recording or the live recording ends. Ayan. So with us right now is Sarah. Tinanong ko kung Sarah ang gusto niya or Sarah or Jane or Sarah Jane. Okay na daw siya sa Sarah. So let's go with Sarah. With Mommy Sarah. Hi, Mommy
Hello.
Sarah, how are you?
Hi everyone. Hi everything.
Ayan. Okay, so Sarah is a podcast service provider for quite a long time na. For how many years na? In fact, tag team sila ng asawa niya, 'di ba? Tama ba si Sir Edward? Can you walk us through how you started? Diretso ba kayong nag-podcast or diretso ba to or how did you start freelancing?
Oh, actually, we have been podcasting for like around 8 years already. I think we started like around 2013. Actually, my husband and I were college sweethearts, and we both graduated in automotive engineering technology. So very far, like malayong malaya talaga siya for podcasting. But because we're partners in crime, um, we love to do things together. And one of the things that we do is like side hustling. So, ang dami-dami ng mga racket nung mga college pa kami. And one of our racket was becoming a DJ in a local radio station. And that is where we come across podcasting. So, during that time, my husband started accepting online jobs, but it wasn't that huge. Mga ano-ano lang, yung mga content writer, mga designing. So, ako, at that time, I was very ignorant and not interested in it at all. But when we started our family together, so I was left at home and I was so desperately, like, pag ikaw na yung nanay lang, one of the things that you would want to do when you are at home is really to earn. So at that moment, I was so desperate to earn money while taking good care of my son. And so that is when I came across audio editing. So it started actually with audio editing. And trust me when I say it was just 100 pesos per episode. Yeah. And when I recall that experience, it was actually very funny. It's 100 pesos per episode and it will took me almost a week to edit the episode. Hindi ko alam kung it is true to everybody sa nag-i-edit ng podcast, but when I was first editing podcast, sobrang nakakalula. Yung parang nasusuka ka na.
Totoo. Yung waveforms.
Yes. Yeah, so ganun yung nararamdaman ko. And to be honest, during that time, sabi ko, I did not believe in it. Like, sabi ko, I cannot make money out of it. So there was a time I could still remember my husband told me na, let's do it full time. Sabi niya ganyan. But I said, naku, magbebenta na lang ako ng mga sabon at downy. Kasi yun, 20-20, makakaano ko per kilo, ganyan. Sabi ko, mas malaki pong kikitain ko kaysa sa 100 per episode. So that was kind of like the very first time na I get involved into podcasting. And then after that, I started accepting the first writing job. I could still remember the pain of my first ever writing job. So when I was back in high school, I participated in journalism, like the school papers, and I love to write. I really love to write. Or maybe just I thought that I love to write because my first job in writing was actually very disappointing. So 2 days akong parang ano ba yan, nagpuyat. And then I couldn't forget what the client said. It wasn't Upwork at the time. It was, I think, Elance. Wala na yan ngayon, oh. Elance pa yan.
Odes, Elance Odes.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then sabi niya siya nga, I don't like your work.
Oh no. Okay.
Sabi ko,
Tapos,
as in, umiyak talaga ako. Like, I couldn't move on. Like, my husband was like, okay lang yan, first time pa naman. But that experience kind of like made me not write again until 2 years ago. So it really discourages me, and that is one of the things that I wouldn't advise to people, being discouraged when you hear negative feedback, because that was me during the time. I was really devastated, and I actually gave up writing until, pag nagkataon na, when you try to discover more skills on podcasting, like show notes, writing, blog posts, etc. So, parang hindi mo naman kailangan gustong gawin, but yung pagkakataon kailangan mong matutunan. So that's why I started writing again. But it wasn't that great experience. So wala na, nag-delegate na lang ako, sabi ko, I don't like this experience anymore.
well, that's true kasi, growing up, you had a really strong faith in yourself, and then someone just automatically slapped you in
Yeah.
in your face na sabihin na kaya I can totally relate na parang, talaga ba? But the
Yeah.
only difference is yung journalism and yung sa online kasi is it partners with SEO. I think that is the reason why they
Yeah.
were criticized. But I had no.
During that time, usong-uso yung there was this website, I think, na parang nakikita kong kinopya mo ba yung word mo. And even if may mga 2 to 3 words ka lang na-copy sa Wikipedia, kasi 2013 pa ata yan eh. So tayo nun, di masyadong uso yung internet pag gano'n. Parang bago-bago pa sa akin yung internet. So parang pag binigyan ka ng trabaho or even assignments in school, the first place you go to is Wikipedia, and then you just copy-paste. So that is kind of like the one thing that we learned. And then I kind of like applied it when I was doing the writing jobs. And sabi ng client, you just copy-paste it. Okay, nakita pala.
Ay, sorry.
Sapong-sapo.
Ayan. But these are stepping stones. Ang sabi nga nila is every failure is a stepping stone. And look at you now. You have an agency and you are working with your husband. So, like, what more can you ask for, diba? Can you tell us about your tag team or your agency? Is that AC Studio or AVC Studio?
AVC.
How
AVC.
did that start? How did that start?
Okay. Actually, we cannot remember the exact year it started, because parang ano lang siya, parang one day, ay, may AVC na pala tayo. Ay, may business na pala tayo. Ganyan. Yung hindi mo lang namamalayan. So, we started really delegating, mga 2013, 2014. Pero wala pa siyang official business. Alam mo yun, yung barut-barut lang, yung usap-usap lang. Yung mga ganon.
Yeah.
Usap-usap lang. But then we really kind of like make it full-time. It was last year, 2020, when the COVID hit. As you know, when COVID hit, marami yung nawala ng trabaho, and one of the things that we wanted to work out was that to help other people naman who were being laid off on their jobs, especially yung mga teachers, and then may isa kaming kasama na who she got COVID. So those are the things that kind of like push us to make it real na. So AVC was found, like the real thing, like naging buo na talaga siya, was actually last year, 2020. But we have been existing for like 8 years already, but we just don't know that we existed.
Na-surprise na lang kayo.
Surprise na lang. It was COVID who kind of like push us.
Mm.
Si AVC naman, it's more like a digital marketing company. So we doesn't just provide podcasting needs, like the launching of the podcast, so everything you can think about podcasting, from promotion to production to social media to graphics to video to audio. So ang pinalawak lang siya ng AVC because we were accepting local clients, and then paunti-unti, and then we are working together na medyo magka-local naman siya, kasi right now we are more onto international clients pa.
Ayan. How many, if you don't mind me asking, how many are you in the team now?
Oh yeah, I think we're around 8. Yeah, I think we're around 8, but we are looking forward to grow more.
Yeah, nice. Congratulations. Ayun.
Thank
And
you.
ang maganda sa pagkakaroon ng agency kasi is you're able to help others talaga eh, no? So actually that's one of my prayers too, to be able to start one, but it's not easy to do that when you are working full time. So
yes. Actually, my husband, 3 years ago, when I was pregnant with our third child, he actually gave up his full-time job to kind of like push this through. That is why we were able to push through the AVC agency too. It's because it was my husband who actually gave up his full-time job, because before, ako lang yun eh, yung parang full-time talaga. When you parang full-time mother, full-time full-time work, full-time everything. But si husband, he was also full-time in a corporate job, and he spends his late evenings with editing. Actually, there was a point na halos hindi na kami nagkikita, or nagkikita pero tulog-tulog. Mga tulog-tulog, like lumadating siya. Tapos, kasi 6 p.m. ang dating, pag when you're corporate, 6 p.m. Uwi ka ng bahay, and then kakain na lang kayo. And then, tutulog na naman siya, and then ikaw tatrabaho. Kasi when you're a mother, you work at night. So, it's because of the time zone also. Because kapag nag-work ka ng morning, wala ka nang aabot ng clients.
Yeah. US.
So, gabi ka magtatrabaho, so aabutin ako ng umaga. So, when I sleep around 4 a.m. in the morning, siya naman
niya alis.
Oo, aalis na naman siya kasi for work na naman siya. And then, the cycle kind of like continue like that. Na there are times na parang so super stressful. Like, both of you were having responsibilities at work, and ayaw nating i-admit, but when we are working even online, there's just so much stress. And sometimes when we kind of like, iuwi natin yan sa bahay, nadadama yung mga kids.
That's true. Wow, good thing you're able to, tapos na kayo sa phase na yan.
We're still in progress, I think. In progress.
What's anong tawag dito? Yung challenging sa freelancing is because you hold your time na, you tend to take as many jobs as you have. Parang yung goal na, I want to work at home so I can take care of the kids. So parang, and then nung you started working from home, and you see all the possible opportunities na parang, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And then you forgot.
It's actually different for us. It's baliktad. Like when my husband was having a job, we have a lot of clients, but then we have less time working on it. But when the both of us were full time, it's more on humaba yung time sa family na less yung time sa work. So
well, that's nice.
So sometimes that's actually one of the reasons why the agency was being founded, is that my husband is a very family oriented guy, and he is really family first. So that's why we take more time taking good care of our kids
Mhm.
and making more laag and more kain.
Yeah. Ah, that's fun. Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about delegation, because delegation is something that you can easily do, you know. Sometimes may mga tasks na sa tingin mo, um, it's not easy to delegate it to someone because you think that you're the only one who can do it
Mhm.
properly. How did you go about that? How were you able to bridge that?
Oh my gosh, to be honest, ako yun yung pinaka, kasi ako yung pinaka-affected talaga yan because I am very perfectionist in nature and I wanted everything to be perfect and organized. And that is actually my struggle all the time. Kasi feeling ko, actually it's all in your head, yung
Uh-huh.
feeling mo lang na ikaw lang ang kayang gumawa niyan. Because you cannot, you don't allow room for failure. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you sometimes kasi sinasabi mo, ay, ayoko po, hindi pwedeng magkamali. Hindi pwedeng magkamali. When I give it to other, parang minamaliit mo yung ibang tao na, hindi niya to kaya. Kaya ko lang
Mm-hmm.
to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are surprised when you actually delegate it to someone else kasi sometimes they are so much more better than you. It is just your mentality that is telling you ako lang ang kaya nito. But there are things naman na it's only you, like especially when it comes to communication with your clients and
Yes.
yeah, so it's those are the things that it is only you. It is so hard to kind of like delegate that to someone
Yeah.
else because nobody loves your business more than you do. And then even if swelduhan mo yan sila ng napakalaki, pag
Mm-hmm.
CEO yung sweldo, if it's not their business, their heart is not in it like you do. They may love it, but not so much like you do. You may
Mm-hmm.
cry your heart out of it, your business, but sila, when your business fail, masasaktan sila, but not so much like you. So when it comes to delegating, ano lang, open-minded ka lang na there are kaya niya ng ibang tao. It's just ikaw,
Mm-hmm.
hindi lang ikaw yan eh.
Yeah.
Stop that mentality.
And there are things that you can, yeah, like ano lang, evaluation lang. What are the things that I can assign to others? What are the things that I have to do myself? Which you said,
Mm.
kasama na yung ano doon, sa with the clients. Now talking
Mhm.
about clients, did you have any challenges
Oh, yeah.
along the way? What were the challenges with the clients along the way? Did you have any clients who you had to, like, let's end this now because it's not working? How about that?
Ang dami. Like, it's been 8 years and sa
Mm-hmm.
totoo lang, it's a rocky road. I could still remember may mga clients na hindi nagbabayad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is actually true. And you cannot be in this business kung hindi mo mararanasan yun. May mga
Yes.
clients talaga na hindi magbabayad. May mga clients din na would leave you like little review kahit alam mo na they were so happy and over parang hallelujah days sila nung mga binigay mo yung mga task na gusto nila, pero with one mistake lang nagawa mo, they will leave you that 1-star review. My clients din na sobrang kuripot, as in to the point na
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
parang hihingin na. I could still remember there was a client who na sinabihan namin na we could no longer do this, we are not charity. Kasi sometimes kasi, alam mo yung mga clients, it's parang ano lang din yan eh, may mga clients sa di ba iba-iba kasi yung mga cultures nila, iba-iba yung per country, iba't iba yung mga cultures nila, and you as you go along with this journey in online business, you'll realize naman na that's why there are racist people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Kasi may iba-iba talaga ang personality yung clients. Sometimes it's per country, sometimes maybe it's influenced by their environment or whatever that is. But the client's experience is that ang advice ko lang sa other people na magsa-start ng online business is that do not be discouraged with feedback. There will always be, parang ano lang yan eh, parang backbiting lang yan. Kahit anong galing mo,
Mm.
meron talagang may masasabi
Masasabi.
talaga. Oh,
Yes.
may masasabi talaga kahit anong galing mo. And then do not be discouraged. Alam mo may mga clients na sobrang maka-feedback lang. Yung alam mo yun yung parang hindi tao yung kausap nila. Yung may mga clients na kung maka ano sa'yo, maka-communicate sa'yo parang pag-aari ka nila. May mga
Like
gano'n.
you have to
Yung
be
parang,
online
yeah, you have to
24/7.
be, yes, you have to be online when they chat, you have to respond back as soon as possible. Like, ang ano ko lang sa'yo is learn your boundaries, like
Mm-hmm.
especially when um, there's a time to work and there's a time not to work. Like you have to tell your client na this day, this particular time, this is not my time to work. So kahit anong sigaw mo dyan na mag-response ako, I'm not gonna send anything to you because this is not my time to work. But there are times, not so much on that mentality naman because there are times naman you have to consider the rush things. Kasi may mga opportunity din, lalo na sa online, may mga rush things and those are paid highly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yan kaya kailangan mo din yang i-consider.
That's nice. That's really nice. And I have to agree with you. Talagang kailangan lang na let them know ahead of time when you are available and when you are not.
Mm-hmm.
Because not all the clients, especially sa podcasting, they don't really require a specific log in, log out time, di ba? And
Yeah,
that's what we love about it, with the freedom, the
the
freedom to
freedom.
choose anytime we want. And the danger is
Mm-hmm.
anytime they message also, parang you are obligated to respond. So
Yeah,
I
so
like that
true.
you just set the expectation that, hey, I won't be available around this time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, pay more
You set the,
attention.
yeah, you set the time frame.
Mhm.
Yung ginagawa namin, it's always necessary to establish systems in your business. Whatever business it is, hindi, even not online business, kahit anong business, it's always necessary to have systems in place, and it's very
Mhm.
important. So
Yeah.
when you, one of the things that we have in our system is to have time frame. So if this particular client's release on Wednesdays, then we have time frames that, hey, you should give me the file during this day, and this is the deadline for you. So not only ikaw lang yung my deadline, you also
Mhm.
give the clients a deadline, because
Yes.
most of the time actually the client would actually expect na available ka always. Now
Mhm.
when they gave you the file today, you are expected to deliver it tomorrow. So that is not always the case. So you have to tell upfront to the client, you have to be honest with them na you are not the only client that I have. If you want me to work full time with you, then I'll be happy to. Then you can contact me anytime. So parang
Mhm.
ganun na. You have to be upfront and you have to be honest to them. Give them the time frame, not only for yourself, but also to them also.
That's nice. And I have a question. What okay, now that of course 8 years of experience is not, it's that's not all ano, that's not overnight success. It's like that's a
Okay.
lot of
Yes.
tears and happiness and joy magkasama na lahat. And of course
Mm-hmm.
experience, no. Sa buong podcast process, because we know that there's a lot of things to, or and a lot of services that you can offer your clients when it comes to podcast services. What is that one podcast service that you like to do the most?
Oh, okay. Hmm. I think it's very challenging. I kind of like everything.
I know.
But definitely siguro ano, yung social media. I it actually it's one of I find the most challenging. Yung whatever the most challenging, that is one of the things that I would love. Kasi ito sa online business kasi you have to learn fast.
Mm-hmm. True.
Ang bilis magbago ng technology. Say for example, 3 years ago, I think, or 5 years ago, may Photoshop na, but not for those people who do not know how to use Photoshop. So you use Pixlr or PicMonkey or other any editing apps. So, but right now you have Canva. It's so easy. It's like drag and drop, and then
Yes.
2 years or 3 years ago, you have to code for website posting. Like you really have to when you change color, when you align things. But now there are so many websites that are drag and drop, like
Yes.
Squarespace, ano pa
Wix,
ba,
yes.
Wix. Oh, so it's very important to learn fast, and you work smart. So you cannot dwell onto things na ito gusto ko mag audio editing lang talaga ako. Pwede yan because it's a passion, but you also have to learn other things because it's okay if, yan talaga yung business mo, audio lang talaga, so that's okay. But when you are online business into, virtual assistant, ganyan, ang bilis ng technology. It's so fast, nag-i-evolve siya na hindi mo na namamalayan. You don't even know kung mag-i-exist pa ang podcast 3 years from now. So something
Yes.
like that. So you have to be very versatile into acquiring new skills and learning faster.
Wow, I really like that. And that's what's good about freelancing, no? Kasi you are really growing, and sinasabi
Mm.
nila na you focus on your niche, you know, focus on your niche, but there are so many things that you can learn along the way too. So and that's good kasi minsan may iba na parang nasa stuck na lang, na parang sinasabi nilang I left that company because there was no growth. Parang yun yung sinasabi
Mm.
na, 'di ba? With freelancing, there's a lot of room for growth. Ikaw na
Mm.
mahihirapang mag-adjust. Ayan.
Ikaw, totoo, sobra,
Yeah.
sobra.
And I have to agree, no, podcasting, parang ngayon kasi is the time for podcasting. We, of course, COVID is not a good thing, but digital wise, it really
Mm.
helped the podcast community grow, the podcasting. A lot of people, in fact, sa podcast PH, di ba, members tayo pareho yata doon. Ang daming
Mm.
gumagawa ng bagong mga podcasts.
Totoo.
And it's the time for, even in Zencaster, we have seen the
Mm.
growth talaga. So and like you said, hindi natin alam kung hanggang kailan lang to. So might as well, might as well enjoy while it lasts, no? Do you have
So,
any do you have any podcast tips or para sa mga newbies na gustong mag-start na mag-provide ng podcast services? How can they
okay.
start?
Okay, for the newbies na gustong mag-provide ng podcast services, ang masasabi ko lang, whatever your degree is, or kung high school ka man, or whatever you are in your life, do not hesitate to humble down. When you are a newbie in online world or in digital, sa online job, portfolio kasi yan eh.
Yes.
Credibility ang basehan dito. So, wala ka, obviously kung wala ka pa nun, humble down ka lang. Do not be afraid to offer free services to prove na magaling ka. Kasi the problem sometimes is we are very much masyado tayong ma-pride. Yung parang, graduate ako ng ganito, graduate ako ng ganyan, manager ako ng ganito, tapos mag-offer ko yan ng free. Actually, when you are starting in online business, sometimes may mga pagkakataon na kailangan mong gawin yan just to not to prove, sometimes not to prove na magaling ka, but actually just to acquire portfolio. Kasi
Yes.
dito sa online parang portfolio lang to eh.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing about here is that you have the freedom. Parang iaano mo lang yung mind mo. Be creative enough on how you can grow your portfolio faster. The faster you can grow it, the faster you can grow in your business as well. And do not be discouraged when people or when client declines your job application. Send ka lang ng send. Kasi ang sabi nila, ay yung connects naman, mahal.
Yeah.
Pero, di ba? Sabi nila yung connects, mahal naman yung connects, tapos send ka lang ng send. But eventually, meron talagang magre-respond dyan. I actually remember when we were starting back in 2013, ano lang yun eh. Magkano ba yun dati? Parang may mga $1 lang yung per hour, di ba? Sa Elance dati. I remember when yung first writing job ko, it was just $2 per article. And then my first editing job was 100 pesos per episode, regardless of the length. Sometimes it's 45 minutes to 1 hour. Sometimes may 2 hours pa nga yun. So it's just determination and consistency and never really give up. Kasi that is one of the things actually that one of the things that I did not do is that I was at first I got really discouraged, and then I received a negative feedback. I got discouraged, I got devastated, and then I stopped. It was my husband who actually pushed me to do more. Sabi niya, kaya mo yan. Sabi ko, minsan naiisip ko, ano bang pinag-iisip ng asawa ko? Hindi naman ako superwoman. Bakit lang na kaya mo yan, kaya mo yan? Yeah, sometimes you need someone also to kind of like push you. Kasi sometimes wala tayong confidence with
I
ourselves.
agree. True. It's very important that you have support system, no?
Yeah, yes, it is. It is very important. Hindi ko sinasabi na kailangan yung magkaroon ng husband to have support system, but your family could be, your friends could be like, if you and also put your faith on God. Alam mo, if kung ilalagay ka ni God dyan sa place na yan, then you will eventually be there and you will grow because He decides to put you there. So yeah, put your faith lang sa Kanya.
Amen. Ayan, we have a question. Ano po
Okay.
kaya ang pwede namin ilagay sa portfolio when applying for a podcast VA? That's one. And advisable din po ba to start your own podcast? So, 2 questions siya si Abby.
Okay. Let's start with the first question first.
Portfolio,
Okay. Okay. So, first thing that you should remember when kind of like developing your portfolio is that always have a direction. Ano ba yung mga job na gusto mong i-attract? Kasi sometimes yung portfolio natin, I'm a graduate of this, I have experience of this, I attended this seminar, but actually, kung gusto mo say for example, you wanted to attract podcasting and then sinilalagay mo dun sa portfolio, you are a graduate of, say for example, sa akin lang automotive engineering technology that is very far away from podcasting. And then I attended seminar on insurance company and then something like that. So it's very far from your, for the job that you are actually looking to attract. So actually, when I was first starting with my portfolio, I did not put anything like that. So I just put, I wanted to grow more, like something that proves na kaya mo. And something related naman dun sa mga jobs na gusto mong i-attract. Like say, for example, if you're into podcasting and then you put something like, I work I work as a DJ on a local radio station. So it is very in line to what type of job that you are trying to attract. Say, for example, if you want to be a virtual assistant, then put something in there that you are very detail oriented. Maybe add an experience in your high school where you work as maybe as an SA or a student assistant, where you are very inclined into the details because you want to be a VA. So something like, always remember to have focus. Kasi dito sa online business, they actually doesn't care kung graduate ka ng law, as long as you can deliver kung ano yung hinahanap nila. Kasi ito yung naririnig ko sa I don't care. Yung ini-interview ka nila, they actually did not, I never, like, hindi ko natatandaan na tinanong ako, anong pinag-aralan mo? I never experienced that. So, yung tinatanong lang is, what can you do for me? What can I expect from you?
Yes.
Paano mo ako matutulungan? Yes. Yun lang yung mga hinahanap na. So, find your niche and then i-inline mo yung portfolio mo dun sa mga job na gusto mong i-attract.
Ayun, that's really straight to the point. And I agree, no? Talagang, kasi yung sabi mong, ang daming ganito, ang daming ganyan. I started with that. Parang ganun din ako nagsimula. So parang, so why is this not working? Yun pala kasi, you are not focused on what kind of service. You are not clear on what kind of service you really want to provide your clients. And like you said, I have to agree. All they care is how you can help their business grow. They don't really care about ano ako, graduate ako, cum laude ako, magna cum laude ako. And that's what's great about freelancing kasi hindi siya hindi siya anong tawag diyan, wala siyang masyadong
Walang
gano'n na
chuchu-muchu.
wala parang 'yun lang. Wait, what's our second question again? Wala na tuloy. Nag-ano pa kasi ako,
Ayun.
eh. Advisable din po ba to start your own podcast? Ayan. Well, let me add a question to that. Do you have a podcast? Because I have a podcast.
Okay, that's a funny part of the story was that in my opinion, it is really advisable to start a podcast. That is actually a legit fact. However, I did started my own podcast, but I just couldn't make it. It is so hard, and if you do not have the heart to continue doing it, it's a lot. It will take you actually a lot of time, to be honest with you. It will take you a lot of time to record, and if you are like me who doesn't have that much confidence, ang tagal ng recording. Ang daming editing.
Yes.
I could still remember my husband told me, ang pinakamahirap na podcast, audio podcast na na-edit ko ang podcast mo. I could still remember that.
Okay.
It really takes, kasi ang funny nga kasi ako because I help on the podcast launching with my clients, and the funny thing was, I was so into it. Like, pag nagsasabi ka na, ganito gawin mo, ganito, dapat ganito ka, dapat. But when I actually started my own podcast, I know that those are the things that I should do, but I just don't have the heart to do it anymore. I have 3 kids, and then I have this business, the AVC, and then we have family, and then we are Pinoy, nag-i-extend ng family natin.
Yes.
So, it just takes a lot of time. So, if you wanted to start a podcast and wala ka namang other things na ginagawa, then start a podcast. If you wanted to grow your portfolio, then yung niche mo is podcasting, then start a podcast. However, if you don't really feel like you have, kasi yung pag-start ng podcast, dapat your heart is into the mission of the message of your podcast. So kung wala dyan yung message mo, wala dyan yung heart, you will stop eventually. So don't start a podcast if your heart is not in it. You will eventually stop.
Yeah, and that's what they call pod fade daw. And speaking of, 3 weeks na akong di nakakapag-post. So, I have to post one this week. Ayan, we have another question. Ang sabi is, anong audio editing and video editing programs ang gamit nyo, and also plugins?
Okay. At first, actually, kapag medyo wala pang budget, try ka muna ng Audacity. It's free. And lahat naman ng audio editing software ay pare-pareho lang ng mga ano bang tawag dyan? Mga gamit dun sa Audacity. Pare-pareho lang. So, try ka muna ng Audacity kasi it's free. Pag nakaluwag-luwag na, you try Audition, yung Adobe products. At the moment kami, Adobe products kami because of the quality that it provides. Kasi marami din siyang features na parang wala sa Audacity. Siguro meron man pero hindi ko pa na-explore sa Audacity. But actually for all, I think ito na naalala ko, I had a client before na who was a music graduate. He really recommends Audacity other than other things. May iba din na gumagamit ng Logic Pro, but I haven't explored that yet. But one of the siguro best na nagamit ko is the Adobe because it's very versatile and it produces a very good quality. Ano pa ba yun ulit yung question niya?
Video editing din daw.
So, the video. Adobe din. Kasi sa Adobe naman, may mga packages sila na pwede na lahat. So when you buy the package, may Audition ka na, and then may Premiere ka na, then you can also download other Adobe products. So yeah, Adobe definitely if you are aiming for quality. However, for video editing naman, kapag wala pang hindi pa nakakaluwag, may mga free naman, like say for example lang Filmora, pwede naman siya. Ano ba iba? My husband dati ginagamit Blender. Okay naman siya. Kaso lang, yung mga free lang, medyo matagal yung pagre-render sa mga video. Kasi ano din yun kasi pag ipe-blending, pag nagre-render ng mga video, medyo may katagalan depende sa specs ng computer.
Yes.
But if you are starting out, actually when I started out, yung gamit ko lang netbook. Very cute. Hindi gano'n kalaki yung I mean specs ng netbook. I think parang 2 GB lang yung RAM. Yun, naalala mo yung mga
Ganun
netbook
din.
dati.
Ganun din sa
Yeah.
akin dati. Ang cute, no?
Oh, ang cute. Oh, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be fancy. Kasi pag may determination tayo, nagagawan niya ng paraan. Kung walang Adobe, then go for other options na libre. And don't tell your clients naman na you are
Yeah.
using the free ones.
Oo, kasi the most important naman is you're able to deliver
Your output.
yeah, the output naman talaga.
The output.
Also plugins daw. What about plugins?
Plugins. Plugins. What do you mean by plugins? Plugins ng Adobe? Something ganun?
I think so, yeah. Or
Plugins.
ng
ng computer?
ng audio editing and ano.
Okay. Wala. All things Adobe lang. May actually yung Adobe kompleto na yan. So in the past we use this levelator kasi nagpapabilis yun ng pagle-level. But then na-realize ko na I'm doing the wrong way. But it took me a long time to realize that I'm doing the wrong way. Kasi meron yung plugin dati na levelator, yung nale-level niya agad kasi sometimes iba yung mga waves pa. Levelator, if you wanted to do it fast and maganda din yung plugin na levelator. But if you wanted the quality, may mga sometimes kasi may mga small waves na kailangan hindi dapat ipalaki. Like the breathing, hindi kailangan yung ipalaki. So, pag ginamit mo yung levelator, pati breathing,
yes,
lumalaki.
Yes. Actually, yan yung napansin ko sa Ophonic kasi nag-Ophonic din ako. So lahat niya because it's trying to level everyone's tracks, no. Yun din yung naging challenge niya kasi parang rinig na lahat. Narinig na lahat. So yun pala, may clarification si Ish. Third-party audio plugins daw.
Third party. Wala. Ano lang, yun lang talaga. Or Adobe lang kami. Adobe. And when you we don't really recommend na minsan kasi 'di ba, for example sa Anchor, Anchor dun sila nagre-record, dun din nagre-release ng episode. Yun na lahat. May mga ganun. Actually kasama din yung Ophonic. Sikat na sikat din yung Ophonic dati. Ophonic pa yung gamit mo?
Actually sa Zencaster, yes. Nagma-magic mastering kami sa Ophonic. Yung mga pag nag-post-production sila, kasama sa process yung Ophonic.
Ay, oo. Kasi di ba pag kumuha ka ng yung premium? Okay. So,
Yes,
Ophonic pala yun.
Yes.
Galing din ang Zencaster, ha?
Actually, gamit din siya ng Squadcast. So, sinunod ko yung Ophonic, parang Zencaster, Squadcast, at saka Buzzsprout. Gumagamit din sila ng Ophonic. Ayan, meron pa tayong follow-up question, Marge.
Sige, go ka lang.
Paano po kaya pwedeng ma-package yung self as a podcast VA kung jack of all trades ka?
There was a client actually na nag-review sa amin yan na jack of all, actually hindi jack, Jill, kasi daw babae, Jill of all trades. Actually, you have to learn everything. So the pre-production and the post-production. So if you want it to be a package of all, you have to learn the pre-production and the post-production. So the pre-production includes preparing for the interview, researching for the topics. You eventually plan everything content na mangyayari sa podcast. So that's the pre-production. That's it. For the post-production, easy na lang yun. Kung ano yung napag-usapan sa pre-production, gagawin mo na lang sa post-production. Yun yung sa post-production. So if you want it to be everything, then you have to learn both pre-production and the post-production.
Now, I have a follow-up question on that. If you are a newbie, do you suggest na, or, ngayon kasi marami na alam na natin, no? But if there's a newbie who wants to offer podcast services, as in like kaka-switch niya lang from corporate job and wants to offer podcast services, how easy or how hard do you think it is for them when they're just starting out?
wala namang mahirap kung gustuhin mo eh. I don't really believe on you are a newbie because you're a newbie,
Mhm.
mahirap yan. I don't really believe on that one. Kung gusto mo talaga, nagagawan mo yan ng paraan. Diskarte lang yan. So if you are a newbie and you really wanted to do it, then learn faster. Because
Yes.
that's the thing in online business, you have to learn faster. If you, kasi may mentality kasi tayong Pinoy na ano eh, we wanted to be a millionaire in one night,
Mhm.
so we want to learn, work less. Ito kasi totoo to ha. Yung iba naiinggan nyo silang mag-online job, it's because they think na you parang easy lang yung
Easy
trabaho mo.
money, yes. Mm.
Upo ka lang dyan. But actually, what they don't know is that when you leave your corporate job, you should be prepared for one, every hour is dapat trabaho talaga. Sa online job, hindi pwede yung chika-chika ka lang na isang oras nang duman, 8 hours mo chumika-chika ka lang. So dito, ki-questionin pa kahit isang screenshot lang na hindi angkop dun sa pinapagawa sa iyo. So you have to be prepared for that, na yung 8 hours mo is really work, not chika. Second is, you have to be prepared for the responsibility and insecurity. Kasi when you jump into online job, wala nang PhilHealth dito. Wala nang
Walang
SSS.
SSS.
Ikaw na
Walang
lahat
tax,
yan.
yeah.
Walang tax, but actually magta-taxing na daw sila ngayon eh. So,
Mhm.
ikaw na lahat yan. And then there is no insurance. So, di ba may mga benefits yung mga corporate job? Wala tayo niyan. So,
Yes.
it could be like, siguro higher tayo sa minimum. But actually, it's just equal lang. Equal lang naman. Kasi tayo yung magbabayad. And it's 11%, di ba, sa SSS. Ang
Yeah.
laki ng
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
11%. Actually, when you pick like 2,000, kahit 2,000 monthly, parang ano lang yun eh, parang minimum wage lang yung equivalent. So, you have to be prepared for that one. Wala na yung, boss, pwede ba akong mag-leave? Kasi dito sa online job, once ka lang hindi nakapag-reply, pwede ka nang pagbalik mo, wala ka ng trabaho. So that's the truth about online jobs. So that are the things that you should consider. Wag kang agad-agad na jump yung paa mo.
Mhm.
Full mo na. Kasi
Yeah.
ang dami mong things to consider. Like you have to be prepared on those things. Kasi yung corporate job kasi it's very secure. It's very comfortable. But
True.
if you really want it, then why not, 'di ba? Kung gusto mo talaga. It's parang business lang naman 'yan. It takes a lot of risk, but if you are really into it, then kaya mo yan.
Ayun. That's really nice. Okay, last question na ito. Any tips for someone na introvert aspiring as a podcast VA para sa interviews?
Oh, okay. Actually, online job is for introverts. Hindi ito para sa mga extroverted people.
Actually, that's true.
It's really for you. Kasi actually ako, very introvert person. I'm not really that, high energy person. Nade-drain yung energy ko kapag nagso-socialize. It's very different. Wag kang kabahan actually when you are into interview. Kasi parang tumatawag ka lang sa friend mo.
Mhm.
Parang tumatawag. I personally experienced this when I was hiring for people for the agency. I realized like I got more nervous talking to people face to face and actually talking to the CEO of these huge companies, during the interviews. Like when I was just talking to like ordinary person lang naman nga na ini-interview ko, I was so nervous. But when I remember I was talking to CEO of these huge companies worldwide, I wasn't even sweating or whatever that is. Like it's very for introvert person. Yung online job it's for you. So if you are introvert person, do online kasi it's for you. Yung hindi ka nagbibihis when you're working, tapos yung paa mo nasa table mo lang. You bring your food with you when you're working. Di ka pa nakakaligo. It's very introverted type. So those are the things that you do in online job.
Ayun. O yan, 'di ba ang haba ng chika natin, naka 50 minutes na tayo. Thank you so much, Mami Sarah, for your time, 'no. Ang daming magandang ano, takeaways talaga. But can you share with us what's your goal? Do you have a goal for AVC Studio? Oo.
Sige, si AVC right now at the moment, we are collaborating with the local government dito sa Bukidnon, sa Manolo, to help provide jobs for, ano ba to? Na NGO?
Mhm.
Ano
Yes,
ba yung NGO?
non-government orgs.
Yeah, okay. Hindi pala NGO na, yeah, basta
Local
yun. Yung mga,
government unit,
local
LGUs?
government.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
LGU. LG. LGU. Out of school youth. Okay, yun pala yun.
Okay,
Out of
yes.
school. Okay, so we are currently working with the LGU to help provide jobs for out of school youth na mga individuals. So I think they will, so yun yung focus namin ngayon, is to sana mag-grow yung ano, because we, as much as possible, we wanted to help the community as well, along with our goals um to provide more services locally and internationally, because podcasting is really fun once
Mhm.
you kind of like set your foot into it. Ayaw mo nang mag-stop. It's really fun.
I agree. And what are your teammates? Are they virtual or lahat sila kasama niyo?
Oh, we have virtuals, and when we also have people working here. Actually, they are outside this room nakikinig.
Ah, very good. Nakinig kay ma'am.
Nakikinig lang.
Okay.
And then yes, yes, please go on.
Yes, go ahead please.
Sorry. Okay, so siguro yung advice ko lang for everyone who wanted to explore podcasting, or even if not podcasting, siguro even if online
Any
job,
freelancing,
virtual
yes.
assistant, yeah,
Mm-mm.
in a freelancing job, do not hesitate to explore, learn skills, look for new clients. Ang dami-daming platforms diyan. You
Yes.
can find clients on Facebook, you can find clients on LinkedIn, Upwork, there's online jobs at PH, there's Fiverr, ano pa bang iba, ano pa ba? 99 Designs. So
Yeah, sobrang
there
dami
will,
na.
yeah, sobrang dami. Do not hesitate to explore. But also, if you have a job right now, wag agad-agad. One step at a time lang. One step at a time. Kasi when you are into freelancing, hindi certain always na
Yes.
may trabaho ka ngayon, bukas it could be wala kang trabaho.
Mhm.
So, hinay-hinay lang. Siguro, especially if you have family, mahirap kasi yung responsibility. But I'm not saying na walang pera sa online. There is. I wouldn't launch the ABC if there isn't. Hinay-hinay lang, easy ka lang. Siguro when you first started, ano ka lang, learn fast, but also keep going, and do not listen to negative feedback. You know yourself better than others, and hayaan mo lang yung mga feedback. Cool ka lang. Actually, one of the things that I've learned is that when taking feedbacks, or when taking negative responses from clients, is that they will always say negative things. Labas mo lang sa isang tinga. Then you always agree with them. May mga clients
Mhm.
kasi talaga na they wanted to be agreed. Like, kasi they feel like they're the boss, and they wanted to feel good about it. So,
Yeah.
agree ka lang. You don't have to fight. Parang, may mga mentality kasi tayo minsan na, I'm the right, I'm in
Mm.
right here, kailangan ko itong ipaglaban. Sometimes
Yes.
when you're working with someone else, kasi in online business or in freelancing, almost all of the time you have to work with people. Like, may mga teams sila that you have to work. And sa dami ng mga races, like it's from India, there's from Pakistan, there's from US, UK, Australia, and all these other like countries and races. So that means they every individually may kanya-kanya silang culture, may kanya-kanya silang perception, and then may kanya-kanyang work ethic. So you don't always have to disagree. You don't always have to fight. Sometimes you just have to agree. That is kind of like, that is how you actually um cooperate with the
Yes.
teamwork. That, and ito ang one tip ko from for Pinoy, because this is for Filipino freelancer, is that help each other, because this is always happen. Always tong nangyayari eh. When Pinoy gets to work with another Pinoy, nagsisiraan.
Mm-hmm.
So do not do that. When it's your kababayan, do not do that. Help each other.
Yes.
Kasi meron talaga yan. I've experienced it many times. When Pinoy gets to work with another Pinoy, nagsisiraan. Why are you fighting each other when Indians are actually trying to pull you down?
Yeah.
So, mas nabababa yung positions nyo together, na nagiging together tuloy kayong nabababa. It's because you always fight for each other. You wanted to step into each other's shoes. So don't
Mm-hmm.
fight each other, but help each other. Kasi wag na i-erase na natin yung mentality na yan.
Crab. Crab.
Super, super. Meron talaga yan. Just to be aware lang. It's not always fun to work with your, it's supposed to be fun. It's
Yes.
supposed to be fun. Supposed to be fun yan. Kasi nagkaka-relate supposed to be kayo because you're in the same language, you're in the same
Mm-hmm.
places, you get to know the same culture. It's supposed to be fun. Kaya dapat you help each other. Kasi may mga iba na nagsisimula pa. Not all naman. I have experience naman. I have experience in the past naman na my co-Pinoy was actually helping me. During that time, I was just a newbie and she was also a newbie, and we were kind of like helping each other. Tapos nagchat-chat kami na, anong ginawa mo sa task na ganito? Hindi ko alam to, mga ganyan.
Tulungan. Tulungan na lang talaga.
Magtulungan. Kasi, alam mo sa freelancing, sometimes may mga task na ang hirap, yung parang wala kang idea. But you doesn't have to show the client that you don't know anything. Although sa Pinas, sinasabi sa atin na you communicate, you ask, but it doesn't apply much on freelancing. Sometimes your partner is Google, not your
Mm-hmm.
team member,
True.
your team member. Sometimes your partner is actually Google. So when you learn new things, i-friendship mo si Google. Kasi nasa kay Google yan.
Si YouTube. Nandiyan na rin si YouTube.
Nasa YouTube nila. Actually, when we first started, I don't know anything about podcasting. Like, I have no idea. So when a client give me, alam mo ba to? Alam mo ba to? I say, yes, I know that. I know. But habang nagsasalita, habang nag-uusap kami, I was actually researching. Ito palang meaning ng ganito.
Ah.
Ito palang meaning.
Ayan, diskarte yan ha. Pro tip during interview.
Yes. So actually, yan yung sa interview. Sasabihin ng client, kaya mo bang ganito? Kaya mo bang ganito? Yes ka lang. Tapos you research later.
Yes, that's true. Kasi ano lang talaga, may mga tasks naman na I mean, the tasks, they can be learned. So,
Yes.
I agree with you on
They
that.
can be learned.
Mhm.
They can be learned, and ang daming resources online. We are already on digital world. Ang daming resources online. I actually admire my husband on this because he is the one who actually learned faster. Like, he is faster than anyone else. And ako naman yung pa-slow lang. I-master ko muna tong ganito. Hindi pa ako ready mag-learn ng other task. Tapos later, nag-realize mo, ay, outdated na pala itong ginagamit.
Obsolete na pala. Ayun.
Sulit. May mga bago na pala.
Ayan, so thank you so much talaga, Mami Sarah. We have a lot of things we've learned, no? At tapos meron pa tayong questions sa comment section, but I'll leave that to you. I will mention you and then answer. It's not required, but if you like to, you can always answer that. But yes, thank you so much. Very insightful at yung talagang speaking from someone with experience, no? Ang session na to. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for this rare opportunity naman to join you.
Ayan. Everyone on Facebook, if you have any follow-up questions, doon lang sa group. And I hope that you find the group really helpful because the aim is to, help each other up. Free aspiring podcasters and aspiring podcast VAs. I hope that you find the group helpful. I hope that video helped, and if it did, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell para ma-notify ka sa mga future videos. To know more about podcasting and podcast management, join us in our exclusive Facebook group. Simply search Podcast VAs Philippines. Have a great day.
Okay, all right.